here on the GTV Breakfast Show. I am Felix van der Palen, and we're throwing light on this often misunderstood condition. Have you understood it? Do you know what it is? With insights from mental health professionals and real life stories, we'll put it all together, and the professional will be able to tell it us all here at the table. We're exploring the effects, treatment options, and day-to-day management of social anxiety disorder. Now, the conversation will not only raise awareness, which is very important also, but empower those who suffer in silence to seek help and feel seen. This morning, at the table right in the studios, I've been joined by an amazing health professional, Ophelia Boma Azure. She's a clinical psychologist from the Ghana Psychological Association.
Yes.
Welcome, Ophelia.
Thank you.
Good to see you. You're looking good.
You too.
Mm-hmm. So the subject we have this morning is of great importance. What exactly is social anxiety? Like we said, are people misunderstanding it? Are we mistaking something else for it? Is it just a weird feeling, an anticipation towards something? What is it?
Okay.
Is it all of it, plus other things?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, and good morning to our viewers for making time to listen to us. May is the Mental Health Awareness Month, and I want to thank the producers of the Breakfast Show for advocating mental health awareness in Ghana.
Welcome.
Yes, so when we talk about social anxiety, it is characterized by a perceived threat or fear. And people who go through social anxiety normally have cognitive distortions. In simple, they go through what we call the negative thinking pattern, where they catastrophize the event and then overestimate their ability to cope or manage with the threat. There are other forms, like it's a multifactorial approach when I'm dealing with social anxiety. I'd like to take it from a model called the biopsychosocial model, which helps us to de-escalate exactly what social anxiety is. So for the biological causes, we talk about genetics, and then and DNA. An example of genetics is a pattern in the family where we hear, oh, her mother was like that, or her father was like that. They normally have fears and anxiety where they are like irritable and stuff. And then we also have the psychological aspect where I spoke about the negative thinking pattern, where people constantly do not see themselves being able out of a low self-esteem place, out from the fact that they can't just see the beauty. And we normally have a funny way of calling them the fortune tellers.
Fortune tellers?
Tellers, yes, because they
like seers.
The seers. They always see negative about the future in everything that they do. And then the environmental setting, as in parenting, sometimes very strict and overly disciplined or authoritative parenting can cause children to grow up in fear. So when you put all this together, meaning that social anxiety stems from the person's brain, like the fear region of the brain is called amygdala. So when it is...
The words are big. So you try and break it down.
Okay, so the fear zone in the brain is overreactive.
Okay.
Like based on maybe the environment or past experiences like trauma or shame or guilt or being judged. And so they carry this with them in their heads that they can really not do anything.
Nothing good
can come out of it. And then parenting too, where children... Have you ever heard a mother say, "Akola we dey unsure there"? Children innately do not know what fear is, but they are being taught by parenting. An example is the dark. We all grew up fearing the dark because we were conditioned and programmed to feel that the dark is dangerous.
Very psychological. Now, this part where you touched on, that has to do with kids being born neutral, not knowing anything.
Yes.
That's what we put it in them. That makes the aspect of genetics and DNA a bit tricky, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Because they are getting the fear from experience, from what they were taught, what they were told. you hear things like, hey, Kakai will catch you. You're telling the kid, somebody will catch you. The police will catch you. And then it registers. So then they begin to inculcate and entertain and grow that fear.
Yes.
So when we say genetics, DNA, I want us to lay clarity on that.
Okay, the strict differences.
Yes.
So an example is, with genetics, you find that the child grows up with an irritability. It is a pattern that you can tell, like a temperament trait, where they are quiet people, like shy people. However, if you give them the opportunity and you support them, you can push them to go out there. They'll be motivated.
Okay.
But when we talk about conditioning and programming, it is when parenting strictly models children to have fear. When we constantly preach fear to kids, as in fear is one of the best ways to make a decision. There's a difference between risk-taking and then motivating a child out of fear not to take chances or opportunities in life. And this could be an example of working colleagues. Sometimes if you find that your work colleagues, you never see them eat in public, you never see them drink in public. They're always afraid to make presentations and stuff like that. This could be as an example of a learned behavior, not simply because they were born with that genetic. Yeah.
All right. Now, when people realize they have these tendencies, symptoms,
yes,
where do they start from? What do they do? Because I'm sure it could range from self-care to seeing specialists like you.
Yes.
Where do they start?
Okay, so the symptoms of social anxiety first is when you blow things out of proportion, when you can't control the fear or the threat you have inside of you. And then when it is persistent, normally we diagnose from 6 months and above. And then lastly, when it interacts with your daily functioning. An example could be at your workplace, your relationships, parenting skills, your own life. And so when you go through these phases and you come to a point and terms to the fact that you are not living your real self, like anytime you want to take a step, there is just something holding you back. Sometimes you may go to these pastors and they're prophesying all kinds of things, or this is in your family, but within you, your soul and your consciousness can tell you that this is you stopping yourself. When it starts like that, you have to, first of all, either, like you mentioned, see a clinical psychologist. I know this is not broadly mentioned out there, and so we are trying to create an awareness. But we have the brain doctors, the neuropsychologists, the psychologists, and the likes to take you through therapy. And what therapy does is that it researches you. It makes you get to understand who you are, why you are the way you are, and then come to terms with this and then evolve. So therapy is not very quick. Like the recovery is not medicinal.
It's a process.
It's a process, and it needs patience and consistency with you day by day, taking off the scales of why, if it were about childhood experiences, could this have led to why I am like this today? So we'll go through that retrospective journey of why you're like this, or if it's a learned behavior, maybe you fell somewhere and since then you don't even like to take a chance again, and you just said, no, this is not my field, I'm just going to be at the back. We can also find ways and means to help you to recover. Sometimes when it is extreme, right, in extreme cases like OCD, I don't know if you've heard OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, where it is characterized by intrusive thoughts and repetitive behaviors. An example of that is like people who always want to be neat. They want their things to be done in perfection.
Is there something wrong with that kind of
yes,
trait?
It's a mental health challenge. Yes, they want their things done in perfection. They are like the mother and the ducks. The mother ducks always arrange his children to be. So that's how they are.
So those ducks are not correct.
Yes, it means if you have repetitive thoughts like that, you are constantly going to be in anxiety mood. Why? Because your brain is overly reactive. It is always in a survival state to protect you. Normally, when our brain is alert like that, it is alert to offer you warning signs, like you have to be careful, this is a dangerous zone to navigate A, B, C, D. But if constantly you are feeling like that, you'll be overly stressed. Okay, so let me just end it here.
Yes. So basically, these are the signs. But for clarity and to make people understand better, however they are feeling, to be able to draw the line, I want you to again, very quickly, probably simply point out the symptoms so they will know that if these are the things I am facing or experiencing, then I need to do something about it.
Okay, so number one, I mentioned when you catastrophize your thoughts.
Catastrophize.
Like blow your fear and threat out of proportion. Something small and you
So you overreact.
React to things.
Little things.
To little things. And number two.
And what is the nature of the reaction sometimes?
The reaction.
The kinds of reaction.
An example is just do a presentation. Simple work presentation or public speaking or a vote of thanks. And it is like Star Wars going inside of you. How about if I fail? How about if I fall? Like you're always thinking negative.
Those are in your mind.
Those are, yes. And then behaviorally, you physically exhibit these signs.
Like, can you explain, give us examples of how people would show it outside, exhibit?
Okay, people are different though, due to the temperament. But a melancholy person, inside of them will just be boiling. They'll be irritable. They'll be shaking. Their hearts will be beating and their palms will be sweating. Right? They'll go like, so I'm going to do this. How about if I fail? How about even if I fall? Exasperating, shortness of breath, or fast heartbeats, all those kinds of things. But a sanguine person will just be pacing all around, telling everybody, hey, can you believe boss has asked me to do this? I don't even know how to do it. I don't even know why I'm choosing to do this.
Do they sometimes scream and yell?
Well, depending on the personality trait. Like I said, over-exaggerate stuff.
Okay.
Relatably to how they over-exaggerate things. And then persistent. When you find that this fear is persistent from 2, 3, 6 months going on, and this is just you, and you have accepted that this is just me, and it is not as a result of drugs or substance. You know, sometimes when people take stimulants, they can react in a way, but it's out of that. It is not also as a result of any mental health disorders like autism, ADHD, and the rest. Like I mentioned, OCD too as well, but just you naturally exhibiting these signs in you. So that is also number 3. And when people tell you, why are you always reacting to things like that? They may not find it in the best wording to explain your behavior, and this may make you very defensive. But it is just pointing out to how people understand you over the time of you expressing your anxiety and your anxiety and symptoms. So sometimes when you come to therapy, we can comorbid either medication and then therapy, or exposure therapy, where we do public speaking, and then where we also do the intergenerative therapy, like going deeper into who you are, why you are the way you are.
Is it fair to say that everybody has some bit or level of social anxiety? Is it a fair comment to make?
Okay, so there are types of anxiety. There's the generalized anxiety disorder. That one is when there's fear or worry to little things, like all of us do. Like when I was coming here, I thought I was going to be late. That is, like
it's
a form, but it is not diagnosed. It's not clinical, right? Because it's not persistent. I've not blown out of. I'm not blowing my fear or my threat out of proportion. It's a reasonable thing.
Expression or assessment.
Exactly. And then you have the panic anxiety disorder. That one is the sudden intense fear of something happening to you, and the phobias where people fear the spiders, heights, food, like things
cockroaches
like cockroaches and lizards.
Do you know how to dance?
I learned from you.
My goodness.
And the rest, there are like so many other. And there's also performance-only anxiety. The person hasn't got all the other forms of anxiety only when you call them to do something. So they are always shaking and they don't feel they are the right people to do it. And so they need a lot of reassurance and reaffirmation. you may look at them to be capable of doing it, but they don't look at themselves to be able to do it. So they need a lot of motivation.
Now, let's look at recognizing the effects if these signs, symptoms are left unattended, untreated. In the short to long-term periods, what are some of the things that could happen to quote-unquote patient? Should I call? Is it right to say patient?
Sorry?
Is it right to call such persons patients?
Clients.
Clients. Patients too harsh.
It's not too harsh. It's mostly for the biological medicines.
Okay, so clients.
Yes.
Yeah, the effects on them.
Okay, so for...
After which we'll come to the kinds of treatment, therapy, the nature of it. All right?
All right. Yes, so the effects of anxiety could be low self-esteem effects. When you constantly shut yourself down, your soul begins to accept who you are. You can't see yourself past your state of mind. Like when someone interacts with you, they just see who you are. You can't hide it. And over time, you just develop this coiling in. You just coil back in like a snail when being touched, and they just go back into their souls like that. Secondly is stress and anxiety. So
it looks like it's the same thing repeating itself.
Sorry, stress and depression.
And depression, okay.
Yes. So in clinical terms, they comorbid. Depression can cause stress, and stress can cause depression, the same as anxiety. So over time, you find that after you have coiled in, you begin thinking about your life, and that's what we call existential anxiety, where you get to a point in your life and you're now asking, what at all have I been brought to this world to do? Because you can't find to live in your purpose. You have lost meaning, you have lost touch to life. There's no connection.
Ophelia, I know a 90-something-year-old man who said this to me a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
That he still hasn't come to terms with why he's here. And he's looking forward
to that.
To leave this place called Earth. That's the statement.
It's true. It's true.
Such a person needs your attention?
Yes. There are a lot of therapies like logotherapy, existential, motivational interviewing. There's a whole lot.
But at that age,
to help.
They've come 360. I'm talking about 90-something.
Yes.
If a 40-something, 30-something person said that, then we'll say it leaves a lot to be desired. In my estimation, this is 90-something. He's seen it all. So is there a need? Or still you think it's an issue?
Have you been felt trapped before?
Well, I have to cast my mind back and look into it.
When I say trapped, I necessarily do not mean not being given the opportunity to do something, but you fearing to express a part of you due to invalidation from others, due to not being accepted.
Fear being judged. Wrongly. Things like that.
And time is fleeting. It doesn't matter their age. When a person feels trapped, they lose sense of count because their senses stop working, right? It's just all about them surviving every day as life goes on for such a person. So like I said, the loss of an identity, the loss of meaning and, their purpose in life due to that. And then secondly, you have challenges with your relationships. If your wife wants to go out and you just want to be indoors, it's just all about you. Your kids say, Daddy, but we haven't gone out. And you're like, stay at home, read, pray, read your Bibles. Sorry.
You're justifying people who don't read and your Bible are not reading.
You're just giving an excuse to shield who you truly are.
Okay.
Now, you don't want your children to really know why you don't want to take them out, why you don't want them to have fun. It's not as if you're an overprotective parent. It's you just protecting yourself.
So then, if you're not careful, there's a bit of selfishness in there
yes,
as well.
That's
it has
what
made
I'm
you
saying.
selfish even beyond you realizing.
Yes, so you have problems
That's
with
quite
people.
Complicated.
Very, very complicated. And then you find some people now taking drugs where they now become dependent to drug and alcohol. Because you've asked them to present something and someone has told them that stimulants are very good. So you find them taking either coffee every day, they're taking coffee, or then they slowly dive into marijuana and then cocaine and the rest because
they're worse.
They feel that they are a split personality, but it's just you.
It's just you. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the effect and also that on academics
Yes.
and career?
And career.
Oh,
And career. And like an example, like exams. Sometimes you find that some people are very intelligent students, but they don't just have the motivation or the confidence to go and write their exams. Before you realize, they are panicking inside the exam hall and they have to resit. It's not as if they don't know. They just can't calm their minds because anxiety starts from the brain, right? Good. And then also with work, where if you're not forthcoming, your boss will not give you an opportunity to, scale up. Yes, so you always yourself. Find them working 10 years and others have come and they've passed them by and they're very resentful about it. And even making life choices. Sometimes they may like someone very much and they know that this woman is good for me and I love the person, but they can't come forward and show their love to them. They rather wait to be pursued by other women.
And with that, I see some timidity in that.
Exactly.
So this bull carries a lot of things.
Yes, it does. It actually affects masculinity. And so you find such people become very toxic. Wow. Very toxic. Because and bitter and resentful. They are not happy people sometimes.
Let's quickly look at, we don't have a lot of time, but let's quickly look at the therapy, the treatment, the way it goes, what people should expect if they come see you and they think these are some of the tendencies. I'm realizing.
Yes. So first of all, when you come into the therapy office, it's normally a safe place, just like how you and I were talking. But therapy is more about the questioning that we use to make you reflect on things, to make you come to the aha moment. Oh, okay, then I connect the dots that this is why I'm like this. Then we will now start different types of therapy like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is more about your thoughts that have made you to be afraid, if it is by the cognitive thoughts. If it is also a biological state, maybe you are taking medications and all of that, we'll have to observe you and see after the medication what happens. But we can add therapy to that. And if we realize that you are severely, like when we have the sorry.
Well, I was also going to ask you about well, not the question as such,
yes,
but it's all about
conversations. Yes,
it's a real
and the type of therapy to use. Yeah. So when we assess
authentic, real conversation.
Yes. So when we assess and realize that you fall in the place of either severe or highly or moderately severe or in full remission of the disorder, then we can add medications to it.
What do the medications do? What kinds of medication? What do they do to you?
Okay, so I was talking about the brain area that is overreacting to the fear. We can give some. I don't want to mention the medications, but people
don't
know
have
about.
to.
Yes,
we don't have to.
But when you take on that brain, it calms you down.
Okay.
Generally calms you down, and so that's why some people may take weed.
Okay.
They say, "Oh, weed calms me down," and all of that, but it's a maladaptive coping to anxiety.
The best thing is to come see a specialist.
Yes, sometimes you don't even need medication. The therapy can help.
Okay.
Yeah, over time,
right.
Like 6 months and above.
But I want to just ask this, very tricky, but have you experienced
anxiety
this at any level?
Okay, so when you, like I said, the everyday anxiety is there. That one is mild.
Well, I'm not talking about the everyday mild.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, for me, the way I was brought up, I didn't know what fear was. We were allowed to explore, to be ourselves, to navigate life, and then there was guided autonomy from parents. So I haven't felt that before, but I can imagine and I can understand. Yes, from.
And then finally, let me just ask you before we go, the need. I have read into it that there's a need to sometimes expose people to certain scenarios to help them. How do you see that one? The importance of exposing people to feared situations, perceived fear situations.
That's exposure therapy. So the exposure therapy, an example like phobias, where people are afraid of heights, they can be taken on top of the tallest building, and then gradually they are exposed to their fears like that. So it's more about that region of the brain that is afraid.
Okay.
It's exposed to the fear.
Yeah.
So as they come close or in contact with the fear, it diminishes the reactive region of the brain. Because if I was afraid of frogs, like my dad taught me to pick up frogs because I was afraid of them. So he taught me how to pick it up and then
become
play
a
with
hobby
it.
anyway. All right. You ran
Yes,
out
an example
of,
like
of
that.
time.
Yes,
I'm
that's
grateful that you came on the show. So it's simple. If you're having any signs or any worries, any fears, and some of these things we've discussed, just feel free and seek help. Help is available. Ophelia Boma Azure is a clinical psychologist from Ghana Psychological Association and is ever ready to speak to you, to take you through the processes for you to feel well.
Yes.
And okay. So thank you so much, Ophelia,
Thank you
for
too.
showing up on the show.
Sure.
So that's it for our BFS clinic on social anxiety.